Hello everyone, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Abe.
And I'm Amanda.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Josh too.
Hello everyone, Joshua Myers here. And today I'm going to be reviewing yet another Netflix original movie, which I just watched for the first time, and that is Marriage Story from 2019.
What I love about Nicole.
Loving you.
She's a great dancer. Infectious. She is a mother who plays. Really plays. She gives great presents. She's competitive.
What? Are you kidding me?
You want to be free.
She knows when to push me
Oh, baby. I'm down on my knees.
and when to leave me alone.
Please don't make me stop now. I love
I thought we should talk.
Okay. I don't know how to start.
and your love is growing cold. My love is growing stronger.
Marriage Story stars Scarlett Johansson, Adam Driver, Laura Dern, Alan Alda, and it's directed by Noah Baumbach. I'm not sure if I got that right, so here's his name on screen. The plot of Marriage Story is that a stage director and his actor wife struggle through a grueling coast-to-coast divorce that pushes them to their personal and creative extremes. What are my positives with Marriage Story? Honestly, for me, now, I would say the direction here is actually pretty good for the most part. And the direction and cinematography is pretty good. You know, I really dug the cinematography. There's some, camera choices in that. There's some camera work choices and, lighting choices and just all that stuff. I felt that, the film looked great, actually. The film looked great is basically what I'm trying to say. Also, I thought the acting was really good for the most part, especially from our two main leads. We got Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver. They're really good, actually, in this. Honestly, I definitely think it's Oscar-worthy performance, which is the third time I said that for a movie to come out in 2019 that is, Oscar-worthy performances. I first said Joaquin Phoenix, then, Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, and now Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver. And also, for the most part, it does try to show the actual reality of any married couple going through a divorce. And it doesn't really necessarily, for the most part, say one side is wrong and one side is right, necessarily. They try to give you the point of views from both parties, from both Scarlett Johansson's point of view and Adam Driver's. Basically also getting to the point, why they ended up together and why they're both splitting apart in that. Also, the pacing of this film is not bad either. The film's about a little over 2 hours and did not feel like that. Most it felt like probably an hour and a half. Music is also pretty good, although I do have a little bit of a complaint with the music, which we'll get to that in my negatives. But what are my negatives with Marriage Story? Honestly, for me, if there's one thing I have a negative on, I have some negatives with how they handle, as far as execution with the story a bit. Me having some time to process the movie and that, I noticed it seemed like, Now, there's going to be a bit of spoiler, but, So, basically they had Scarlett Johansson meet up with Laura Dern's character, who's a vindictive lawyer in that, very vicious in that, and basically, tells her that, hey, you need to have it all, this marriage that you're in is wrong, and even though Scarlett Johansson was like, oh no, it's not an awful marriage in that, but, and not only that, she basically So yeah, it over the course of the film, it really shows that, you know, it really shows, just what something like this could do to change a person as far as, being, eventually become vicious, and like, really it destroys Adam Driver's character's life a bit, you know, like, basically, you have Scarlett Johansson, lying about certain things, like, not going to court. She decided to go to court with him anyway, uh, and wanting to take custody of their kid and that, so yeah, over the course throughout the film, Scarlett Johansson becomes, really vicious and vindictive, and even her ideals change to the point where it forces Adam Driver's character to really, kind of fight back a bit, like get his own vicious lawyer and stuff like that. So, I felt like this film was a bit confused on what it wanted to do necessarily, because here's the thing. By the end of it, Scarlett Johansson's character gets everything she wants in the end. There's no, like, which here's the sad, unfortunate truth, it is like that, in courts, especially when you go, like, I don't know much about the forces, I only know a little bit, through experiences with, my parents. Yeah, I don't want to go too much into the stuff with my parents, but, because that's personal stuff, so, but, yeah, it's like, unfortunately, with courts, it's more so, the woman's word over the man's word, when I think it should really be, present, the evidence, like, just, this is the case with everything, I think, present the case with everything, like, all the evidence, let them, just see, cases from both sides, and, determine based on the facts, and then, who should really win the case, it shouldn't be, it shouldn't be a bipartisan thing at all, where it's like, one side favors one side over the other. It shouldn't be like that, and unfortunately it is. Most of the time in courts, it's normally, the woman's word over the man's word, and sometimes, like, so yeah, it does seem to ruin people's lives in that regard, so, for that way, and I think that's wrong. I don't think that's how it should be, but unfortunately it is. Anyway, back to my point, the movie seemed to be really confused as far as what it wanted to do. It kind of seemed like it wanted to be like a, woman empowerment movie in some sense, but at the same time, it wanted to, show the real effects of a couple going through, like a married couple going through a divorce, and trying to show, the points of view on both sides. So it seemed a bit confused as far as wanted to be. It's like for me, either have it be one thing or the other, but not both. I mean, maybe you could do both and have it be, done well, but in this case scenario, not much, as, like, it just made, the story a bit confused on itself, Also, I had an issue with the music, like, for me, I really dug the scenes where there was no music, nothing like that, but when they do bring in music, I felt like it was a bit too much, like, it felt a bit too manipulative for the music, like, it really felt like it was trying to shove, it's the same problem I had with It 2017, where the music felt like it was, like, too much, like, it was trying to cram whimsy in that up your ass, like, it was a bit too much, a bit too dramatic. I would have had it to where it was minimum, like, minimum music, or just no music at all throughout the whole film. The only times I would have had music is during the opening credits and the end credits, and that's it. I felt like it would have been more effective that way, or just having very minimum music, like very minimum type of music, not, this kind of dramatic type of, like, emotional music that just honestly felt a bit manipulative. It tried to, so, but honestly for me, those are my only complaints with this movie. So with that said, I'm going to give Marriage Story a 4 out of 5 stars. Honestly for me, I think it's pretty good for the most part. You know, it does have really good performances, especially from our two main leads in it. You know, for the most part, I think it tries to tell a really interesting story about, you know, going through divorce, you know, and showcasing both point of views, but sometimes the story gets confused a bit. Like, it tried to be a woman empowerment movie at the same time, but while also, you know, trying to show it from both points of views and that, and it just seemed very confused in that sense. I didn't really care for, you know, the type of music it played. This is a film I could see had been more effective if the film, except, like, for most of the film, there was no music whatsoever. I will say the direction and cinematography is really good. Once again, I gotta give props to Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver. They acted their parts really well. Honestly, these are two actors I could see these are two performances I see being Oscar worthy. Like, those negatives are the reasons why it keeps it from being like a 5 out of 5 or even a 4.5 out of 5 star. But honestly, a 4 out of 5 star is still a good rating. I still really liked it. I think it is one of the better films of 2019 as regards to, you know, direction, cinematography, acting, even story. Even though I felt like, again, the story was a bit confused, you know, like the film felt like confused as far as what it wanted to be. But as far as a film that felt confused as far as what it wanted to be, it's not bad, you know, it could have been much worse in that regard. So that's it for this review. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.